Hello students. Well, I have recorded this 3 times now, so let's see if this works. Today we are starting topic 16. This is about two-dimensional figures. It means it's about shapes. It's about squares, rectangles, triangles, rhombuses, trapezoids, things like that. Hopefully this chapter won't be too difficult and we can concentrate on learning how to do the technology. Okay, so what I've done is I have created slides for the whole chapter. So if you look at the table of contents, the whole chapter is listed here. Today we are going to talk about classifying triangles, so I'm going to hit on lesson 1. Okay? In this chapter, we're going to talk about how triangles and quadrilaterals can be described, classified, and named. We are no longer just going to say, oh, that's a triangle, that's a square. Now we're going to need to look at the properties of these different shapes. Okay? Today we are going to work on the triangles, so we are going to classify or name triangles by their angles and by their sides. So each triangle can have 2 names. So when Pearson asks you to do the homework and it asks you to name the triangles, make sure that you're looking at the side name that they have and the angle name. This is important, and I have done this on each lesson. The important piece that you cannot forget. If you have a notebook or a piece of paper, you might want to write this down so you don't forget. It is also on your Google Slides, which I've loaded on our Google Classroom as our notes. So every triangle has 3 sides. Tri, T-R-I, means 3, so a triangle has 3 sides. The other important thing is that all the angles of a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So if you take those 3 points where your sides come together and add those up, it must equal 180 degrees. Okay, so don't forget that. You want to make sure that you've written that down or highlighted it or something. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to classify our triangles by their sides. If you look at the first triangle, that is an equilateral triangle. It means they are equal. All sides are the same length. So the first one, 6 inches, 6 inches, and 6 inches. All 3 sides are 6 inches. They are equal. That is an equilateral triangle. Okay. Now, an equilateral triangle can also be known as an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle has at least 2 sides that are the same length. So you can see in my picture, they have a 4 centimeter and a 4 centimeter. The 7 centimeter is not the same, but the 2 4 centimeters are. An equilateral triangle also has at least 2 sides, so an equilateral triangle can be called an isosceles triangle also. But an isosceles triangle might not be called an equilateral triangle because they only have 2 sides that are the same. Okay, so we have an equilateral triangle that all sides are the same. We have at least 2 sides that are the same, which is an isosceles triangle. But we also have sometimes where our triangles have no sides that are the same. If they have no sides that are the same, that triangle is known as a scalene triangle. All right. We can also name our triangles by their angles. The one that most people know is the first one. It is a right triangle. So a right triangle is a triangle that has one 90-degree angle. A 90-degree angle is the little box that you see on that first triangle. If you're looking at the walls in your house, those are 90-degree angles. Okay? So right angles are all over the place, and they're known as a right triangle. You can only have one right angle in your triangle because if our whole triangle is 180 degrees and we subtract the 90 degrees, that means we're only left with 90 degrees and that has to be divided between the two other angles. So you can only have one right angle in a triangle. Now, if we look at the next one, that is called an acute triangle. This is where all three angles are acute angles, which means they are less than 90 degrees. I have highlighted all three angles because this is the one that everybody has to agree that they're smaller than 90. They don't have to be the same angle, but they have to be smaller than 90. I like to think of these as acute angles, and which means to me they are tiny angles. So our acute triangle is cute. They are tiny. All angles must be less than 90 degrees. Our obtuse triangle has one angle that is an obtuse angle, which means that it is more than 90 degrees. To me, obtuse sounds like obese, which means fat. So these are the fat angles. Okay, so we have a right triangle, an acute triangle, and an obtuse triangle, and that is by naming them from their angles. We also have an equilateral triangle, an isosceles triangle, and a scalene triangle, which is naming them from their sides. All right, something you might be asked to do is, what is the degree of the third angle when we have a 90-degree angle and a 30-degree angle? So we know that all of our angles must add up to the 180 degrees. I can take away from that, I can subtract the 90-degree angle and the 30-degree angle, and that will help me find my third angle. I know 90 plus 30 is 120, so 180 minus 120 is 60. So the third angle has 60 degrees. Okay. If you look at the next triangle, what is the degree of the third angle when we have a 30-degree angle and a 75-degree angle? Well, again, we know our triangle has 180 degrees, so we're going to subtract from that 30-degree angle and that 75-degree angle. So I know 70 plus 30 is 100, so 75 plus 30 is 105, and when I subtract that from the 180, I am left with 75 degrees. So our third angle has 75 degrees. Okay, so that's just one of the things they might ask you to do. The other is they're going to ask you to name your triangles. So the first triangle is a right triangle. It doesn't tell me the length of the sides, so I'm going to just call it a right triangle. The second triangle has a 30, 75, and 75-degree angle. Those three angles are all smaller than 90 degrees. They're cute. They're tiny. So this triangle is an acute triangle. All right, now it is time to practice. You are going to go to Google Classroom, and you can click on the link. It will take you to Pearson, where you are going to do 16-1 visual learning, and you're going to do 16-1 practice buddy. Please make sure that you go all the way through those things, because when you finish those, it will show me that you are done and it will grade those. Also, when you are doing the visual learning, the little video, it's like a 2-minute video, make sure that you do the try it and click on each piece. Otherwise, it will not mark you as having finished the assignment. Okay? You should be taking your eSpark placement test and just trying to get familiar with everything. We will have a Zoom meeting on Thursday, hopefully 10 a.m., so that we can get on together and make sure everyone is understanding how we're going to do this. Now, I need you to type your favorite color in the comments. That is how I will know that you listened to this, and I will give you credit for having attended my class today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.